Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Avery Singer, and the one, the only Jolie Lauren Golub.
Hi.
I can't even speak today. See, we were just saying like this is what happens. I'm on like my 10th million cup of coffee today, but thank you guys for both being here. Jolie, I know you're in New York. Avery, I know you're in Chicago. So thank you guys for doing this.
We're so excited.
I mean, the Batch Boss CEOs are in the house, people. Listen, I mean, Avery, we grew up watching you on TV. Jolie, welcome. I mean, Batch Boss, like where did this idea come from?
Yeah, I can take it first. For context, for people that don't know Jolie, she's one of my ultimate best friends. She's literally my family. We were roommates for 2 years in New York City. As we know, New York rent is so expensive and the rooms are super tiny. We actually shared a half of a room on the Lower East Side. So literally all that could fit was just each our bed. So we had like a fake wall, everything. We did a little bathroom shuffle. So I only give the context because I think it's very important. If we're best friends, we're now business partners, but we've literally like goosebumps. We've been through it all at this point, and if we can literally share a half of a room, we can easily do this. So we're so excited. Just jumping in, how did it get started, right? So Jolie and I, we were actually planning our best friend's bachelorette. We were co-maid of honors. It's actually how we met. Was through our girlfriend. And we decided, we were doing like little spreadsheets, running numbers of what's affordable. And we've just heard and experienced horror stories of, the bride wants the boat, the bride wants the bottle service. Okay, that's amazing. Like, who's paying for that? And so we were in Excel. I obviously did finance for a while, and I was kind of jokingly passing with Jolie, like, we're really good at this. Like, does everyone kind of operate like this? And we were doing a Google Meet, and now we do a lot of them. And she was like, I think we should make a business. And I just kind of like shrugged it off. It's like, yeah, sure. And then the next day she's like, so let's talk about the biz. And that was in like the end of October. I ended up then we started like doing spreadsheets. Like we have a whole master doc of like every single city. I'm
Just
rare.
and just to
Go ahead.
interject, Avery, because I feel
Yeah.
like this is important. If there's one thing to know about Avery and I, it's that we're doers. So when we say something, we execute. And I think that's important because I think people have ideas all the time and they're like, we should do this, we should do that. But what is different about Avery and I is like we had the idea, we said, let's make it happen. We, like Avery was saying, we started creating these spreadsheets, we started talking about them. And then I went to visit her in Florida and we looked at each other and we were like, you know what? Let's bring this business to life. Let's set up our bank account. Let's get our LLC in place. Let's wait till we get an EIN. Let's get all the legal and logistics in place. And then we just started running with it. And like, it's been an absolute whirlwind ever since all of the logistics kind of fell into place.
I'm so the same way. Like I had a different business before this way back. I sold it. Now I'm like this. I'm just like when you get an idea, I mean, lots of people have ideas, right? It's one thing and people talk for weeks and months. You're like, just make it happen. And I know that's easier said than done. Did you guys have a lot of like, you always hear of like bachelorette party horror stories? Like, did you, like you kind of alluded to this, like, did you go to a lot of different events and you're just like, oh God, this is a horror story. I would do this differently.
I can go first. So I've gone to a couple. We actually went to Jolie's bachelorette. She recently got married. We went to Cabo, and we're right now in the first wave of marriages, right? So it's the people that met in high school or college. We're 27 to 28. And there's a bunch of people, like a whole wave now of like, I got like people have like 15 bachelorettes in 1 year, right? It's like people have to remember you're not the only one. And from what we've been learning is people show an experience, people show up, especially guys, right? Like we're totally catering to bachelor parties as well, because guys definitely, they're less organized and we want to help them and execute all the plans. Or, you get slapped with like a $1,500 Venmo at the end. You have no idea what you were paying for. And that's really uncomfortable.
I think that's like a great point. And I think another major issue, like as Avery was saying, is cost in general. So not even knowing, you know, the breakdown of what you're paying for, but I think just overall budget for a lot of people. People expect a lot from a bachelorette party these days, right? They're thinking that their friends can just shell out, you know, thousands of dollars on these activities. And I think something that's, again, really unique to mine and Avery's business is our partnerships. There are competitors in the space. You know, we're not the first ones, but I would say we're probably the most connected. So some of these partnerships that we've established really early on, I mean, like when push comes to shove, we've really been in like full business for a little over a month, if that, that we've actually been running and, you know, taking on clients. And we've locked in partners like 11 in Miami, right? Which is that's a massive deal. And then Let Us Entertain You in Chicago, the massive restaurant group. So like we have these really sexy partners. And we're just thinking, you know, our long-term goals are partnering with airlines and like massive hotel chains and casinos. And really because of Avery and my connections, I think that's really a big value add because we can provide discounts for a lot of our clients. So instead of paying, you know, a ton of money for a table or for a yacht, we can get it to them at a fraction of the cost.
I would imagine, like, I think you mentioned this too, Avery, like you both kind of just mentioned this, but I mean, I would imagine the finances are like, I'm single, I'm happily single. So you're not going to be preparing. If I ever get married, I will hand it over to the two of you. But I mean, I don't know how it works. Like, does each person pay? Like, I would imagine finances are a very uncomfortable, like we've all been at that group dinner where one person's like, I had one drink and you all had appetizers and main course, dessert, and like 12 martinis. What the hell? I would imagine that's a very uncomfortable thing that people just want to turn over to you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely, and that's kind of why we had this idea is we're trying to avoid fights and just like be that third party that's like, hey, bride, hey, groom, you want these things? That's amazing. Are you going to pay for it? Because it's not fair for your friends that, especially like I'm also single and like some people are single. Some people, you know, they're not making six figures. So everyone has very different finances and not everyone is super cognizant and aware, and no one likes to talk about money. Right. Like we've had these conversations where like, I want to tell my friend, like, I can't do that. I can't put down $100 for this activity, but I also don't want to be the bearer of bad news and like look like the bad friend. And then like she gets mad at me. Like that's not fun either. So it's just super uncomfortable. And I think that it's important when we do have these intro discovery calls. And Jolie and I were both like tech sales backgrounds as well. Jolie's like my go-to salesy expert more than me, which is like, if you think I can make people be my best friend, Jolie is like 10x. So we have a very good like yin yang on the whole business, finance, all of that. Sorry, I digressed. Circling back.
No, you can digress all you want.
Yeah, like circling back